Landers, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey guys, welcome back to round 3 of 5 here at the LA Midseason Showdown. I am still Regina Angley. This is still Giovanni Costa. Did you hear the inflection of my voice go down really?
Yeah, very much
understood. Pikachu?
Yeah, I definitely need it after a long day of commentating with a certain somebody.
You can hold on to that.
But right now we're about to have another really fun match here. We have
Nate Munroe versus Tristan McCoy. Nate obviously having earned his invite after Toronto earlier this season, so I'm pretty sure he's a very new master.
I think so too.
I think like it's either his first or second year, so some really great things from him. I enjoyed his Blacephalon team immensely at Utah. Unfortunately, no blowing anybody's minds today with the team that he does have. Tristan, I know him only as a local San Diego player. I've seen him in a couple of the events there, but doing pretty well today. So that's always
2-0 is always good.
So I'm excited to see some good things from these players today.
Yep.
So no Blacephalon, which is the only sad thing.
I did play Nate at Utah. He was using a really cool team. He's a really cool player as well.
Yeah.
I have tons of fun. You know, I got a bit of luck against him, but he's still really fun. This is
What am I looking at? All right, cool. So obviously Nate on your left side with an Azumarill, Tapu Koko, Kangaskhan, Cresselia, Charizard, and Landers there. And on your right we have Tristan with Thundurus, and it's what form?
Therian form?
Yeah. Politoed, Bronza. Oh, those Pokemon I never thought I would say again. Kingdra, Swampert, and Breloom.
Well, it's certainly an interesting team. Almost a mono water type. Well, not actually, no, just 3 water types. Still quite a bit.
It's half water. There you go.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Thundurus is not the usual incarnate form, which has access to the Prankster, which can allow him to get Rain Dance up with priority. Breloom is also a Pokemon that we haven't seen too much of in this season. I don't know what it could do in this situation here.
Spore!
It could Spore, but at the same time, there is the Tapu Koko on the other side, so, you know...
Bullet Seed, I think. Also, like Technician Bullet Seed, I think, is also...
There's also Mach Punch, which is pretty good against... would be really good against something like Tyranitar, or, you know, even a... Kangaskhan would do quite a bit of damage.
Hopefully we get to see exactly what it does, because Breloom is a Gen 3 Pokemon, so I'm super into it.
Alright, so we're going to get right into this battle here. Both players are a 2-0 here. This is a really difficult midseason. There's a lot of really great players here, so to be able to...
fun things,
and a lot of fun teams, you know, and to be able to start off so well, you know, it definitely says what kind of, like, cool teams are running.
Alright, so we've got that lead of Kingdra and that Thundurus over on Tristan's side, and we've got Cresselia and Charizard on Nate's. So, I mean, I have no idea what Thundurus does.
I mean, here you could go for something like a Z-move onto the Charizard. A lot of the Thunduruses do run Choice Scarf, so you could go for like a Thunderbolt, and then Kingdra can go for something like Muddy Water or maybe a Z-move. You could also just go for Rain Dance as well. That's less likely to happen. So...
Well, I found her opponent. Anyway, so that Charizard is going to be switching out though, so no Mega Evolution. We will be getting the Landorus Theron from Nate's side, so going to be getting the Intimidate into both of Tristan's Pokemon here. So, you know, minus attack on that side, but not going to be... oh dear, we've got a Z-move straight from the get-go.
Nate might be getting a good switch in here, because that Z-move might be completely wasted turn 1 here. Or maybe he goes for the Cresselia, but he doesn't.
Yikes, yeah, it goes into Lavender Form. But the Hydro Pump connecting from the Kingdra onto that Cresselia going to be doing almost half damage onto that, but showing that Life Orb onto that Kingdra as the Icy Wind from Cresselia connects onto both Pokemon, going to be lowering their speed on Tristan's side.
Yeah. Tristan, you know, if he had gone for the Hydro Pump onto, like, the Landorus, he would definitely been able to pick up a KO there.
That's so ridiculous.
It would have been great, but fortunately, he made a safe play of going for the Z-move and for the Hydro Pump. Now both Pokemon are at -1 speed. Thundurus took up a little bit of damage, but can definitely take a couple more. But here, Landorus is threatening the Kingdra quite a bit. It's also threatening the Thundurus quite a bit with a potential Rock Slide. So there's quite a bit that Tristan can go for here, and while Nate can go for here.
Yeah, but that Kingdra's not going to take any damage this turn as it goes for the Protect over on Tristan's side. But U-turn from Landorus going into that Thundurus, instead going to do some more damage to get it down to half health, but allowing Nate to just kind of pivot and switch out for something better suited to this lead. I mean, obviously switching out that Landorus in the earlier turn was fantastic because it burned that Z-move and took no damage and got it not switching for free. So we're now bringing back that Charizard from before, still not Mega Evolve, and then knockoff going into that Charizard, not going to be doing that much because you can't knock off that that crystal. But another icy wind from Cresselia, going to be doing some more damage on that Thunderous on Tristan's side, is almost going to be able to knock it out, but more importantly, lowers its speed by one more stage.
Yep, so now the Thunderous is a -2. This Charizard definitely much faster than the Thunderous can possibly be. The Kingdra, not really threatened by Charizard. It is Solar Beam, is a neutral move, 4 times resist to any fire move potential. But at the same time, Tristan can't just switch in a water type, something like Politoed in order to get the Drizzle up, because then Charizard would just Mega Evolve and, well,
he disagrees with you on that front apparently.
I guess that's not what he's going to go for, so.
I mean, yeah, now we've got that. Hey, maybe Nate's running a Charizard X for all we know.
Well, Charizard goes for the Protect. It's not going to.
No Mega Evolution.
It's interesting that he didn't go for the Mega Evolution here. I'm not sure why he would go for a play like that. I mean, now he can Mega Evolve and just get the. The Sun up, but
I mean that Kingdra's gonna have access to that system.
But it could be a eject button or Politoed, which is not. But the Hydro Pump into the Charizard not gonna do anything.
Maybe that's why. No, I was to say, yeah, maybe that's why he did Mega Evolve. But I guess like the Protect was a safer play in there. I'm actually really confused why he didn't Mega.
Yeah, well, yeah, he could have just gone Mega and gone for like something like
he still could have went for the Protect too, though, on that turn, like after Mega evolving, especially.
Well, the Thunderous was going to be slower than the Charizard, so there was no, and that was the only thing really risky there. But maybe Nate saw something that we didn't in this situation. But I still think that he should have gone for the offensive there, if he had. But now he can just Mega Evolve anyway, get the Sun up, reduce any water damage, and get a potential knockout onto anything that Tristan trying to switch in for that Politoed.
I mean, hey, at least Tristan gets that rain for like that one turn.
Yep.
And actually that King is going to be switching out, so we're going to get that Thunderous back onto the field. So I think Kingdra gets Swift Swim, right?
It does.
Yeah, so that's also an interesting choice there. But we will be losing the rain on this turn finally with that Mega Charizard Y. Just everybody loves bringing the heat to Southern California, and
tons
we
of sun today.
We definitely don't need any more of that.
Yep.
But Solar Beam is going to be just a one-turn attack now because of that Sun. Going to be going into that Politoed. Going to do massive amounts of damage. Probably going to be enough to.
No, not enough to pick up knockout. But the Calm Mind from the Cresselia is going to start becoming a little bit of a problem for Tristan here, because most of his Pokemon so far has been special attackers, and now that Cresselia is a +1 special defense, it's not really going to mind it. Rain Dance coming out from the Politoed, so the manual rain, which is not bad, but that Cresselia is now becoming a little bit of a problem for Tristan. It's something he has to deal with now, because that Cresselia can easily go for an Icy Wind. It can easily take any moves that either Politoed or the Thunderous can deal out, and nothing is really stopping this Charizard from just switching out and setting up the Sun again.
Yeah, I mean, Nate has all the options to do that, especially because Tristan's been taking just some heavy damage on this Pokemon. Sure, no knockouts, but that Kingdra, even with that Life Orb damage, has been kind of threatened now, from Nate's side, especially because that Cresselia's been setting up. So like you said, that Charizard gonna be switching out, gonna be bringing back that Sun later on. We've got that Landorus once more, so another Intimidate coming out from this Landorus, not gonna be doing really anything to that Politoed at all. If anything, this Politoed is going to be able to attack it, but going for the Protect instead, so giving Nate that opportunity to kind of
Thunder from this Thunderous.
It goes the Cresselia.
Yeah, does a good amount of damage, but unfortunately, Side Shot coming out from the Cresselia. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't want to try and get rid of that Thunderous right away, but I guess the Landers can take care of that either way.
I wonder if part of it is because if you've got that manual rain, then you want to get rid of that as soon as possible, because when you've got Pokemon that are like waging weather that way, I think your option then is I have to make sure that I can set weather whenever I want, and if you've got a manual setter, I need to get rid of that as well. So
could be. I think if I'm Tristan here, I definitely want to save this Politoed, even if I have to sacrifice something in. That's exactly what he's going to go for. Swamp coming in, which is probably the Swampert if I had to make a very, very easy guess. Rock Slide coming out from this Landorus, probably revealing that it is Choice Scarf or that the Thunderous is not max speed. It's going to pick up the knockout into the Thunderous and do not that much damage to the...
to that Swampert.
Nope.
Yeah. But Moonlight for Cresselia going to be recovering some of that HP that it lost from that Thunder, which is going to be really nice for Nate. I mean, he's been able to just kind of get this Cresselia set up a little bit. So obviously, you know, not recovering as much because of that rain, but this Cresselia is kind of just sitting there still now in the green. Is at +1 on its special attack and like that special defense because that's Calm Mind. And I think Nate is still like in a really good spot. You know, obviously once we get that Mega Swampert from Tristan's side, then you've got 2 Pokemon who are extremely fast on there. You know you've got one that has Hydro Pump for sure, can go after this Landorus, and a Waterfall from that Swampert is just gonna hurt whatever it goes into.
Yeah, Nate probably wants to switch in his Charizard here just to prevent that Swampert from potentially getting a knockout into that Cresselia, which could be the key to winning this entire game. And if, you know, setting up the Sun could is going to reduce any water type damage, going to remove the Swift Swim from both of his Pokemon. I don't know, I can't read Japanese, but it is a Charizard coming in. And so now the Sun is back up, so all water type moves will do less damage. And yep, it looks pretty good for Nate, but Tristan also making the read. Very, very good read from Tristan
yeah.
there, knowing that if he didn't Mega Evolve the Swampert, it did not get the Swift Swim, so would be switched out after the...
Oh, with that Hydro Pump connecting into that switch in from that Charizard. I mean, either way, whatever's going to be that was going to get knocked out. You had the Landorus or you had the Charizard. Unfortunately, like, you know, Nate's going to lose that weather control on there, but I think part of it too is now that you know Tristan has that Swampert, if you have that Intimidator, you can try to just kind of negate that very well. I mean, Cresselia not going to be able to do much on here. It is a very passive Pokemon in most cases, just going for Icy Wind after Icy Wind. Especially now, I think that's a lot more important now that you have the rain up again and you're trying to control the speed on something that has Swift Swim. But Tapu Koko, being that last Pokemon now on Nate's side, is going to be bring the electric seed. Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, this Cresselia is going to be a little bit bulkier now.
That Cresselia is now a huge threat, and this Koko could potentially be faster than this Kingdra now because the Kingdra is a -1 speed, even though it has the Swift Swim. It's, you know, depending how it's trained, it might not have enough speed to outspeed a Tapu Koko here. So we're about to see how those two Pokemon interact. But of course, there's nothing stopping the Tapu Koko from just going for a Protect and then another Icy Wind from Nate's Cresselia, who is not really being threatened right now by either one of his Pokemon.
Yeah, but Tapu Koko is going to be going for the Protect, just not going to take damage from either side of the other Pokemon there. But Hydro Pump not connecting because of that Protect, so protecting itself from that weather boosted Hydro Pump. As Psyshock is actually enough to pick up that knockout onto that Kingdra. So that's one less threat on the field out there. But Scald going to the Cresselia spot, just barely any damage on there, and
no burn.
Oh, no burn. Like,
there's always that little pause.
Stress.
That pause that really just pauses your heart for that split second. It is.
I mean, like, that Swampert, I think what's nice now about here is when you knock out that Kingdra and you force that Swampert there, now your Tapu Koko, you don't have to worry about if you have a Gigavolt Havoc on it, you don't have to worry about that switch in and being like, oh snap, I'm about to Gigavolt Havoc the Swampert.
And now, I mean, Nate's Cresselia is a +1 speed, and now, defense, and now the Swampert's going to be a -1 attack, so I don't think a Waterfall, even if a Helping Hand, would be able to knock out the Cresselia, which is going to be Nate's key to win this game here. We're about to see, you know, where there's a crit, there's a way. There's always the Waterfall flinch. There's, you know, Scald Burns. There's a
lot of things that can still go in Tristan's favor on here. And I think, though, Nate was still really smart in preserving that Landorus because of that Swampert. And no Helping Hand from this Politoed, instead of going for a Protect, as the Waterfall is going to be going to the end of spot. So, into that Cresselia spot. Not enough to pick up a knockout at all. Psyshock into that Politoed, not going to do anything. So, Landorus switching in at that moment was super helpful to that Cresselia, holding on with just 36 HP left. We know it has Moonlight. The only problem is in the rain, you're not going to be recovering that much HP.
No, you know, if it was in the sun, like I think Nate would like the Moonlight to be in, he would be covering so much health right now. But unfortunately, that Charizard, you know, got knocked out by a really good read from Tristan, so that's not going to happen. But at the same time here, Tristan has to focus on one Pokemon. That Politoed probably not going to get anything done because either an Earthquake or a Psyshock would be able to knock it out.
I think if Nate can, like, you know, continually switch out that Landorus and just kind of negate that Swampert, he might be in a good position. But like I said, he's going to be knocked out this turn from that Waterfall, but this Landorus is going to be free to just kind of attack. Goes for the Rock Slide.
Ooh, it misses the one Pokemon it did not want to miss. I don't understand why he is not going for the Earthquake instead, because then he would have been been able to pick up the KO. I don't agree with that play from Nate. You know, he would have been able to get so much damage out onto that Swampert, and he would have been able to KO that Politoed as well.
So then, if we're assuming that Landorus is Choice Scarf, then the question is, if he knows that he was going to lose that Cresselia, that Tapu Koko was there, you still want to at least attack something. But I think you're right. I mean, I don't see a case where Tapu Koko might be able to go against that Swampert, especially since that Swampert is like super fast now. It has that rain boost still, and that Icy Wind, you know, really hurt Nate's Landorus. It's not going to take a Waterfall at all, but Ice Punch instead, and it's just going to easily pick up that knockout on that Landorus. And this Tapu Koko doesn't really have anything to do against this Swampert.
It could have, it does have Dazzling Gleam. I would say you could have Grass Knot, which is very unseen, but I mean, I don't like to call anything out until it's over. But at the same time, yeah, it doesn't look like this Koko is going to be able to do anything to beat the Swampert unless he has a secret move. But looking at the screen right now, it looks like Nate is about to forfeit. So we're going to go into a game 2 here. Tristan getting the game 1. You know, I feel like Nate could have won that game by just making slightly better play there towards the end, but you know, hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah, well, I also think though that Tristan was really good about the way he played that game. Like when you have the manual rain setup with the Politoed, and then you have the knowledge of, hey, Nate's trying to change weather on this turn, so let's pivot on our own too. Like that turn when he switched in that Charizard and the Politoed came back out, like that was a really
really good play.
And I think what the hard part is on Nate's side, you've got this kind of issue of, how do I stop a manual rain setter that is really good at protecting itself, and you have 2 Pokemon with Twist Swim, and you've got that Life Orb, Arbor, and then you've got this Swampert that is going to be insanely fast as soon as it Mega Evolves, and you don't really have a lot of answers on Nate's side against that Swampert, except a Solar Beam Charizard, but Tristan's already shown that he knows how to set up his weather against that. And I think that's going to be Nate's biggest problem.
Nate could also like try and go for maybe for a Zoomeroo setup here, even though like he's staring down quite a few water types. +4 Aqua Jet in the rain +6 Aqua Jet in the rain does a lot of damage.
Yeah, and there's no way that Nate could actually even stop it because he's got no terrain set up on. Oh, sorry, not Tristan. My bad. Oh, but we have the Breloom. Oh, that's exciting.
You can see that Regina is very excited, but also very excited is that is that a Azumarill, actually, I don't think I've ever seen a shiny Azumarill before. This one is actually pretty cool.
Now you have.
Now I have, and it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, it lives up very much to that game. But Kangaskhan and Azumarill on Nate's side has the potential to really set up sort of an Aqua Jet, and the only problem is Tristan has now that Breloom.
Yeah, that. I think Tristan really adjusted really well to what he thought Nate would lead, and it no matter what Nate does here, it looks like Tristan has the better advantage. Like Mach Punch into that.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh my god!
That's a lot of damage.
That was ridiculous, and I mean, okay.
Double Edge
it's gonna knock out this Kangaskhan on its own.
Breloom.
And Breloom. But so this is a trade-off. But here's the fun part. That Thundurus had Taunt, and I mean now Nate's got to be extremely careful about how he sets up that Azumarill. If Nate does not have a Fake Out user in the back right now to stop that Thundurus from taunting that Azumarill, Nate cannot set up the Pokemon that he needs to do massive damage.
Yeah, I kind of like the play of going for Taunt in case Nate was going to go for something like a switch into Landorus again and like just waste the Z move. That wasn't the case in this scenario, but what?
That was an intense turn 1. Like,
yeah, that was. I'm actually surprised that Mach Punch did so much.
Could
have been something like Choice.
Like,
no, it's definitely Technician, but I think it might be a Choice Spin on top of that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage.
I mean, good for Nate that his Kangaskhan held on because that was a very nice trade-off, I think, especially if you've got a Pokemon that can deal out that much damage. But Cresselia going to be coming into that place for the Kangaskhan as we've got that Swampert again. So, we might be seeing that Politoed once more in the back. But we've got Swampert Mega Evolving from the get-go now. No speed boost for it, obviously, because there's no rain. Still a really scary, bulky Pokemon. That Waterfall does a lot of damage as well. But is that
Z-move coming out from the Thundurus into whatever target Tristan decides to go into. If he goes into that Azumarill, it's gone.
It's game over for Nate.
But if he goes into the Cresselia, then Nate might have an option here to, it's going to be able to take that decently well and then fire off of an Icy Wind back. But let's see what happens here.
gonna be going for that Cresselia.
Oh,
And I
into the
wonder,
Cresselia.
see, I wonder though, like whenever you see a Cresselia and you see a Pokemon set up next to it, I wonder if you always assume ally switch because like that's one of like the scary things to do. But doubling down onto that Cresselia, it did hold on though, which is very nice for Nate.
But now that Munroe is just free to set up a belly drum, and it's gonna be really scary. That Swampert cannot take a +6 Aqua Jet.
Oh, wait. Huh.
No, not. I mean, because it doesn't resist the Aqua Jet, so it would just be taking like a really, really strong Aqua Jet. And now that Munroe is able to get that attack, it's set up, and now that Thundurus is just like not. It wasn't a good position before. It is no longer in a good position at all.
This Munroe definitely is. I mean, that Cresselia holding on is very good for it because, you know, if that Cresselia had been knocked out by that Gigavolt Havoc, then Nate probably would have been in a worse position to set up there. But now Nate has that option of, hey, this Pokemon is ready to go. And yeah, we traded off Pokemon turn 1, but here we are. And now, you know, Munroe's ready. And
yeah, interesting. He's going to go for Protect. I'm not sure why he would go for Protect there. Like the Aqua Jet from Munroe would be able to pick up a knockout easily here, and also a Side Shock as opposed to trying to get health back from. Oh, okay. Earthquake from the
from the Swampert. Not going to be connected with anything on here. That Munroe protected itself, and I mean, so we've seen the Volt Switch, we've seen the Thunder, and we've seen the Taunt from the Thunder. So Nate is doing his best that he can to protect this Munroe because it is the Pokemon he's going to need to kind of just go after whatever Tristan has left. This Cresselia, one more Side Shock into the Thundurus is going to be able to take care of it, but I think, yeah, Nate's kind of like in a free spot to kind of do what he wants. I mean, he can go for Moonlight and the Cresselia if he really wants to right now, but the Aqua Jet from the Munroe, no Protect on Tristan's side at all, and almost knocks out that Swampert.
This is not good. But that's not good at all. I think if you're Nate, you should have tried and get a knockout onto that Thundurus because I'm not a fan of that play, but at the same time, an Icy Wind from Cresselia here would be able to knock out the Swampert, but at the same time, like now the Rain is set up, and now that Thundurus is going to be able to come back without any problems with his speed, and now Nate has one Cresselia, which is almost gone, and then he also has,
so that Side Shock got into that Swampert, just pick up the knockout. That would have been really nice, but does get the critical hit onto that Politoed.
Very, I'm not agreeing with some of the plays here that Nate been making. I think the threat, he should have taken care of the threat, which was the Thundurus.
I think he was assuming the same thing you were, that Aqua Jet would have knocked out that Swampert.
Yeah, I thought it would have the 2. Maybe it's a really, really bulky, but now it's just top. Like, also knowing that I can see what he was going for here, but I still think that going for an Icy Wind would have been the better play, especially knowing that knocking out the Swampert is such an important factor into this.
I mean, Dazzling Gleam is going to pick up the knockout this time.
Yeah, but now that Politoed can go for something like an Icy Wind to drop the Coco speed, or a Scald to do a ton of damage, really.
Yeah, I don't. That's not a lot that they can do. I think.
And not when you get burned either. Yikes. So.
That's just like it's salt on top of the wound right now. And I think the hardest part about that was, I think Nate was absolutely assuming that, hey, Aqua Jet will knock out the Swampert and I'll be in a better position. And Swampert holding on, maybe Tristan has it teched for that, or maybe it's just a really bad roll on like Nate's end. But even with like a Dazzling Gleam, there's not much you can do. But Nate's just gonna be going for the Gigavolt Havoc on there, so.
I mean, there's still a chance if for some reason the Thundurus cannot knock out that Coco and it doesn't have something like Protect, then Nate could potentially pick up a KO with Dazzling Gleam.
That would be fantastic. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, then we could go to a game 3.
But yeah, so I think this Politoed obviously isn't going to survive this Gigavolt Havoc on Electric Terrain. But now we've got this Burn Tapu Koko and a Thunder.
Oh, no, it's going to go for a Thunder. So there was no Protect on that, and that's probably game because Thunder does so much damage.
The Thunder, and then the residual burn damage on it. So, I mean, Tristan picking up game 2 and the round very nicely. But I mean, like, I think Nate's at the point where he's just like, he's here for fun. He has his invite.
He has his invite. Doesn't have to worry. Getting
visiting
nice food.
SoCal residents. How very nice of him.
Yep. And, free food is always good too.
Yeah. That's fair. But really good job on that. I love the adjustments. That Breloom was fantastic. I think seeing that Mach Punch Breloom do
so much damage.
So much damage. Like, I don't understand what was happening there.
Yeah, that was a lot.
It was kind of crazy, but I think some really good adjustments from both of them, and that was actually a really fun match to watch. Tristan, I think, has understood how to set up his weather almost perfectly, and he did such a great job of that in game one. Like, I know a lot of people don't agree with manual weather setters when you already have an automatic.
It could be useful. I can see the use for it.
On that team especially, that was so well done.
Yeah.
Like, it was just really good, and I was actually super impressed by it because you don't see Rain Dance Pokemon when they have Drizzle very often. So good job to Tristan, good job to Nate. We're gonna go to round 4 in a little bit, and we're almost done with Swiss, and I actually can't believe that. That's ridiculous.
2 more rounds, and then top cut.
Wow. All right, well, we'll see you guys. Go get some more. I'm probably getting more food. There's chocolate around here, so I'm gonna go take it. Bye, guys.